What is going on, guys? Welcome back. A video for you. Want to revisit one of Matt Allen's videos here about player ratings. The quintessential conversation with Madden. You can see awareness, your football intelligence, important in almost every play. Going to take a look at two linemen here. Number one, who has 99 awareness, and number two, who is obviously going to have 0 awareness. And obviously, we're going to try to figure out how much this matters, and do ratings really play a factor in who you bring onto the field. So to create a baseline, we're going to go against the best rated in the league right now, Aaron Donald. Obviously, J.J. Watt on the shelf. He's going to go out into practice mode, competitive, all-pro settings. We're going to look at 5 plays here with number 1. This is the smartest left tackle you can have in the game. First thing he does, gives up the sack right away. We're going to come back and revisit this play. Second play, struggles to contain, but actually doesn't give up the sack. On the third play, much of the same. You can see Aaron Donald is really setting the depth of this pocket. He doesn't lose his man, though. He doesn't actually give up the sack. Fourth play here, odd that this line shift does not happen in any of the other plays, but technically he did lose his man and give up a sack. And then on the final play, much like the first, you can see kind of that insta-shed. Now here we go, number 2. The dumbest left tackle you can have, one of the hardest positions to play, one of the most coveted linemen. Dumbest guy gives up the sack. And then here you can see on the second play, really just drives back into the quarterback, gives up the sack. The third play here, again, struggle with depth, but technically doesn't actually give up the sack. The fourth play here, again, you can see struggling, and I know stepping up in the pocket, long routes kind of help this happen, but again, that's what we're here to look at. Fifth play here, obviously gives up the sack. So clearly not as good, but here's where I was really taken back. Football intelligence, left tackle picking up a blitzer should really shine through with smart players. And number 1 here, again, 99 overall awareness, does a really good job at going out, picking up the blocker, and holding him. Doesn't actually let that player impact the quarterback. So here we go, number 2, where the game should really shine through. This player should not know what he's doing, but instead, he does just as good of a job, in my opinion, of going out, recognizing the blitzer, picking him up, and holding him for the duration of the play. Now, I wanted to go back and revisit those sacks. This is number 1. Like I told you before, we're going to go back and take a look at the first play. The problem I have here is this is an animation. Donald wins the battle on the line. I don't see any difference in these players other than how quickly they pursue to Donald once they've let him go, which is ridiculous because, in fairness, if you give a free release to a lineman, he's going to go to the quarterback no matter how fast you chase him down. I don't see a 99 aware player versus a 0 aware when I see these two side by side. Now, again, we've seen what can happen on the field. How does the game simulate this? He goes in to simulate a season, injuries off, player progression off, and to get a baseline just goes with the actual Saints. And you can see here, factory awareness, basically what you would load up the game, see, and play with on your own. So the Saints go 10-6. In my opinion, that's not that bad. They're a perennial contender. They are a good football team, so I don't have a problem seeing them go 10-6. What I want to focus on, though, is the 479 points for and the 419 points against. When we take a look at a team now that has very low awareness, a lot of these starters have 1s. Now, yes, there are some players you're going to see that aren't at 1, but most of the starters are. It's interesting to me, and actually I was a bit surprised by this. They go 0-16. That's refreshing to see it in Madden. Even more refreshing is the 152 points for and the 553 points against. So now that we've got a floor, let's look at the ceiling here. When you take the starters up to 99 overall, it's really interesting to me that they go back to 10-6, 489 points for, 441 points against. So we essentially got back right to where we were. So how important was it for those starters to have 99 awareness? If that's football intelligence, if that's how smart a player is. All the time in the NFL, we learn and hear about how smart players can really make a difference in the game. So to go back and just to look at this ceiling, 489 points scored with the smartest players you could have. 152 points scored with the dumbest players you can have. With your baseline, 479. to me, that's not enough of a difference. 10-point swing from your baseline average team, 10-6, to your extremely smart players, 99 overall, when your floor is 152. But when you look at these numbers as a whole, my problem is the baseline to the high isn't there. There's not enough of a difference. You can see that these players, even though they were much smarter, even though they should have been playing at a higher level, they really weren't. To me, I want to see more of a discrepancy. I want to see a ceiling that's at 10, I want to see a baseline that's at 5, and I want to see a floor that's at 0. And only, I think, until that can happen will we truly have competitive games with players that matter and ratings that really do affect how a team and a player plays, not only on the field like we saw in the beginning, but also in simulation as we saw in the end. I'd love to know your thoughts on this. I appreciate you checking out, and you know that I'll be back in the week with more comments.